Hey, T-Fox, I got a fucking tripod, okay?
It's a nice tripod.
Yes.
It's a beautiful tripod.
My tripod has had more hits than the Beatles.
And you know what? It's still standing, and some of the Beatles aren't.
Is that a mic stand? Was that a mic stand when it first came out?
It's, Staples sells that thing for $9.99. It's a beauty.
Are we done?
Are we live?
Yes.
Welcome back, everybody! Wow.
Who invited Tyler?
Tyler Fox is in the house. Nick
Strong-Cvetich
is back.
You
You're
know
on
what?
the leading podcast of Off the Lip.
It is.
Let me ask you a question. What was that shitty beer you brought that one year? Remember?
Olympia.
Huh?
It was Olympia.
Olympia
That
beer.
was my roots beer.
Hey, Olympia had the best
It
bar
was
beer
the one.
signs and liquor store
was
beer
the one.
signs on the planet.
Sliding into third base on the show.
Brian Waters is here. From the Board Riders here in Santa Cruz. Welcome back as well, and we'll talk about your program.
Awesome.
For those of you who are out in the worldwide, we are in Santa Cruz, California. We're live from the Boardroom. We got Tyler Fox back. Thank you, Tyler. Nick, we're running Save the Waves.
We're running it.
We've done some amazing things. We have the reserve at San Miguel in Baja. How's it going? Just real quick, is that
it's still going. There's like a port project that pops up every now and again that is like to safeguard against, but it is the first state park in the state of northern Baja California.
So a port project is people bribing the government to
No,
to
it's
put
just the
ships there
government's
or
like,
something?
hey, let's just make the port way big, and they're gonna take out like 5 waves, but they don't have the money to do it, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, San Miguel is such a good wave to surf.
It is.
When was the last time you were there?
I was there. This is funny. I was there like 2 years ago. They have this cool contest that just happened down there, run by the Baja Surf Club, and I have only done one surf contest in my life, and I'm awful at it. I was terrible. The waves were super good. But I surfed against his old compadre, Zach Popper, who's at Surf Rider now. He's like the environmental director.
He
surfs really well. He was on you guys are QS together, did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And so like at least I was with one of my buddies, and I remember getting out there. Zach got the first set wave, and he just like ripped the bag out of it. And I'm like the next set wave's up. I'm in position. I get the wave, and I'm looking at all these people back there, and I'm like literally my legs are like locked, and I'm like, shit. How do I make this thing go? I want to turn. I want to throw a bunch of spray, and I'm just going going straight. People were like that knew me. They were like, "Oh God!" They just like walked away. It was
In
hilarious.
hindsight, she did Nancy Kerrigan.
I
taking
should
out the knee.
have taken him out.
Yeah.
A Nancy Kerrigan
He went on
referral on the
Yeah,
Nancy referral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kerrigan, knee capper right there.
He won the over 40s, but it was a good. I'm glad I did it for the experience.
If you were to rate San Miguel on a surf scale, like 1 to 10, what would you call it?
It's pretty darn good.
Or what would you compare it to?
It's kind of like a non-A-frame version of Trestles that maybe doesn't have as big of a swell window, but it's kind of that. It's cobbles. It's
The jetty throws a little bit of a
curve.
sidewind.
Yeah,
there's a
little. There's sometimes there's like a little. There's kind of like these 2 peaks, and there's like a little barrel section sometimes, but it's kind of dependent on direction and how big it is. And time.
Thank you for helping save it. And your organization is a big part of that.
Let's talk about Save the Waves. What is it you guys do?
Well, the easiest thing, we protect surf ecosystems around the globe. So
Okay.
we work in like 15 different countries. We have kind of like 5 key regions that we're working now. We make like protected areas, so things like a state park,
Right.
and all these places. We also do like big projects to kind of like protect and steward those places, and then we run campaigns. So a couple of, and then we always are like trying new shit. That's the cool thing about it, is it doesn't get boring. Like I'll bring up the latest thing we did. We worked for the last like year plus in El Salvador, Las Flores, Punta Mango.
We talked about that.
We talked about this,
Yeah.
Super gnarly. The government's like investing tons of money involved, but they control surfing there, which is great because it's the only government that's investing that much into surf and surf culture and contests and stuff like that. But they're also just like developing the shit out of everything, and they're like rooting waves by the level of development. If you go up to the other, like a bunch of the other part where they are on the Surf City project, and so they're starting to realize that. But so we worked in Las Flores with the whole community there, made it a World Surfing Reserve, the 13th, and then part of that project that we thought was really interesting, we started to think about, okay, every now and again they get these huge rains, like massive flooding, all the sandbars blow out, like the surf is dog shit because the banks are all messed up. So we said like, and then everybody that lives there just is dependent on surf. So if there's no surfers coming, there's no money. There's the fishermen don't make any money, the photographers don't make any money, the resorts don't make any money, the little mom and pop restaurants, pupusa places don't make any money. So they're all dependent on this. And if you get a big giant storm, how do you feed your family? And we're seeing these go more and more with like the climate changing. These storms are gnarly. So we got like...
Is government motivation for surf tourism?
Yes. So the thing that we have tried to do that's so innovative is we said, what if we insured the surf break against these climate things? So we got a whole scheme that we've developed up, raised a bunch of money for it, and have figured out with like one of the biggest reinsurers how to actually insure the surf break.
Like Mahomes' elbow.
Yeah. So like if a big
what?
storm comes
Mahomes'
in,
elbow.
The quarterback?
Kansas?
yeah.
What did he get? His elbows insured?
If it wasn't, I mean, I honestly, I kind of hope
Your
somebody-
mouth should be insured. But
Mahomes' elbow needs to pop out, in my opinion. Yeah. But so you're actually insuring the surf breaks. So if there's a disaster of a flood or a storm, the people in the neighboring community could be compensated for their
business.
losses.
You probably have business interruption insurance. You get a flood in
I
here or
wish.
something.
We flood in
Maybe not.
I flood in Capitola
Maybe
every
not.
year. I don't get $1 from that. But
But there's that. There's business interruption insurance, and then there's this like environmental component of restoring the watersheds, all like these little creeks. And so if you just get a huge storm down there, the next storm that comes, if the vegetation's not back, just blazes right out, cuts another swath through the sandbank. So we're providing money to do that, go back rapidly, restore it with the community there.
amazing,
So
because
it's
all
pretty
I
interesting.
hear about lately is insurance companies saying, "I won't insure you."
They're I mean, they're
Here.
definitely screwing people, but there's other places that are like looking at other options, because also like if you have more claims than you have money, it doesn't matter like if you're evil or not, it's just a math problem. So this is like, how do we reconfigure it so the claims don't outstrip, like they're not going to be able to claim in normal insurance. This is a different form. It's called parametric. If it rains a certain amount, it just triggers those payments.
I love that. How long you been at Save the Waves?
How long have you guys been doing this?
Well, it's been 10 years. You've been there.
I've been there 12 years.
Okay, so 12 years. I just real quick. I know you've done a lot of things. Which one rises to the top? Like, what is your proudest moment of being at Save the Waves?
I know. It's like, what's Tyler's like proudest wave? It's like the next one.
I know the
most
big one
fun.
at Mavs and
You probably have a couple of highlights.
third place maybe that year. What was that? A fourth? Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
I think there's like, it's just the next one that's interesting to me. You kind of move on, and maybe we don't celebrate enough the things that we're doing that are cool. And I think more about like, what did we not get right, more than like, what did we get right and how do we make it better. But yeah, I mean, San Miguel was one that was super cool. You know, I rattled on about cowls for a bunch of years. That I liked it because it's like, I thought my kids go there, and it was like, you know, like 13 years ago, it was like, you thought you went out to cowls and you were gonna get like dysentery or something. Like,
That's right.
Turn into
so
a
like, I
pigeon
like
or
cowls
something?
because it's a backyard, and then it spilled out into other things in Santa Cruz. And then I like, Punta de Lobos was cool. Working in Chile was pretty cool. Some of the work that's happening still in Salina Cruz is cool. That's a really neat place around the Punta Conejo and the big project there. I mean, right now, something that's happening, it's like, what we didn't do a good job. I don't know if we could have done a good job, but like Uluwatu was a place that I really cared about, And
What's going on at Uluwatu? I don't know about this.
this is like crazy. I mean, I'm pulling it up right now. Like Uluwatu, just for those that don't know, is like in Bali. It's a southern part in the Badung kind of peninsula, and it gets a lot of swell. It's got lots of different breaks, and it's got this really famous Hindu temple. So Balinese people are like Hindu. So the community all goes to this temple. It's a big deal. So they came up with this project of like, we're going to reinforce the temple, the whole cliff, by building this giant seawall. So not to give it away, but there's a place called Secrets that's kind of around from the main peak and all the other kind of stuff that people are more familiar with. And they basically cut 100-foot vertical section out of the limestone cliff, and we're just like throwing it off the cliff, like out of the reef. And then built a road down to where the beach is, kind of this rocky beach that used to scramble down this like little trail. And so now it is like a whole seawall around there. So there's like 2 or 3 waves that are lost. And it's just like devastating the reef, the coral, all that health down there. There's like dugongs and stuff that live down there. Like it's a super endangered creature in Indonesia. And then they did it under the guise of like protecting the religious site, but then you also find out there's lots of foreign money involved, and they want to kind of develop the beach area. And so we mounted a petition and like did a lot of research. And as far as we got was like the federal government decided to investigate this project because they didn't have the permit. They didn't actually comply with their own laws in doing it.
Wow.
So, but that didn't stop it. They were like, yeah, investigate, it's cool. And they just kept cutting. So it's kind of like it's like one of those that you're like, what more could we have done? But then also you're like, you're not from here and you're challenging this religious sort of zest, and you don't want to be like in the way.
How hard is it to manage these projects from afar?
It's pretty hard. You always have to find, like, the thing that we do is like, Save the Waves doesn't do anything on our own. Like, we're not like, okay, Waller's in trouble, I'm gonna like scramble the jet and fly out there. Right. One, we don't have a jet, so if anyone wants to donate like a plane, we'll take that.
Got a paddleboard? What do you got?
Yeah, we have a 1978 Boston Whaler.
Hey, I got one too.
Yeah, but I own only a fifth of it, so my own boat. It won't get there, I don't think. But so we always like we build a coalition of people on the ground that care about that and are aligned and can do the things necessary. So there's some cool folks.
Was there a person like that in San Miguel?
Yeah, and she works for us now, and like her family's been involved for a long time. We had partners, this other organization called Pro Natura that actually came up with the original proposal. They worked on it for like 4 years, like 2009 till 2013, and they were like, we're not getting anywhere, like we're gonna put a pause, but like if you guys want to take this, what's needed is like a bunch of international attention. So like bring the surf community in, tell everybody, like make a big, and so we had, we did we made a film. Kyle Tierman was down there, made the film. We did a bunch of stuff, and so, but it took 9 fucking years. It was a long haul to get there, but it got there. And I don't know. I always just think back of like, did I come and pitch something somewhere and get everybody excited, and then did we actually do it? Because I always like, you can come and talk about stuff, but if you didn't do anything, it's like,
We'll talk about Tyler. We asked you to come down and be on the show, but then you told me you want to bring Tyler at the last minute. Why the partnership? Why is the partnership needed?
I like excuses to hang out with Tyler. He is a Save the Waves ambassador, a long time Save the Waves ambassador. And he has helped us many a time from Santa Cruz Waves and on.
I don't know how wide this is, so it might.
You can come over here.
Oh.
Welcome over here. You get what you asked.
Is he allowed back in, TC?
T-Fox? Come on in. Absolutely.
I thought it'd be cool. I had a little bit of a head injury too, so I could.
We can tell.
Yeah,
we can tell you had a little bit.
My slurring.
Is the jaws a little? Well, just so you know, you did actually have a surf injury.
I did, yeah, right down here. I got whacked super hard in the head.
Jaw,
stitches, concussion, like a week and a half ago, so it was a little foggy. But I like hanging out with Tyler. He's been a big part of Save the Waves, like he's always just helped out, and he carries the flag pretty well, and he's my buddy, and so we like
he comes
do
to
random adventures and go have
very
fun.
Cozy, huh?
And he's got a new gig too.
Yeah, I got a new gig. But we thank you after every show, TC.
I do. Every show. I always say every night, T-Fox, thanks for having us to be a part of Santa Cruz Waves. And you were open arms with the show, and we've worked together ever since.
I'm like you guys have brought on so many amazing guests over the years. It's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
bravo. I don't know how or why they. No.
It's true.
That's a good question.
Great question.
Well, they ran out. They
Jimmy
ran out.
Panetta, like
Yeah.
he's government official. Like, why?
Yeah, I know. Jimmy Panetta gives me hugs when he sees me.
I know we got certifications on the wall.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah,
We got
exactly. Yeah.
White House
I thought you
shit.
guys are official.
Probably
Yeah.
because
Proclamations.
It's fun. You guys are fun, and we talk about
Seriously?
real issues,
Yeah.
but in a lighthearted way.
Right.
So
Right.
thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
Can
you're
we
welcome.
segue to your new gig? You're
Sure.
with Sandbar
Yeah.
Solar now.
Sandbar Solar.
And what's your role at Sandbar?
I'm the director of marketing over there.
And it's a growing company.
Growing company, and they supported Santa Cruz Waves way back in the day, sponsoring surf contests, advertising in the magazine, and I got to know the owner Scott and just the whole team over there, and just been a fan of like how they operate, and like what we were talking about earlier. You're like, yeah, they loaned a trailer when we needed a trailer. You know,
Amazing,
just like
yeah.
not asking for anything in return, and that's just the type of company they are. And I'm like, I would love to be a part of that. So
And
cool.
and you kind of got as well. Did you get solar on your house and that?
yes,
little bit of a-
that's another thing.
Yeah.
So they donated some old panels onto our that we used on our tiny house, our off-grid tiny house, and batteries. And basically, we're energized from those guys. So
Very cool.
Current state of solar. I mean, I know the current political vibe in the country's maybe anti-solar, drill baby drill or something.
Yeah.
But is there any concern for the solar industry right now? Is that
you know, I don't know. You know, I mean, there's people are skeptics of any new technology, and I think there's a lot of greenwashing out there. You know, like this is, you know, this is green and this is pro environment and this and that, and I think you know, there's flaws with anything and everything out there. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, you can, but I think we're moving in the right direction as far as renewable energy, and I think solar is the way to go. The sun produces enough energy to power this whole planet.
I agree,
So-
100%.
Look when we went down to the Joby factory, TC. Remember?
Oh no! Well, I mean, technology today is insane.
Yeah.
I will say that all we're gonna do is give away the money
Yeah.
to foreign countries that are gonna produce the components that we are all gonna buy in America. And so, for the current situation to say we're not into it,
Right.
it's just gonna give away the technology and the manufacturing to other countries. Because the bottom line is, I agree with you. Solar technology is badass.
Yeah.
And it is efficient,
Yeah.
and it doesn't pollute. And everybody will say, "Oh, the batteries pollute." It's still less,
Yeah.
100% less.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. And we're learning. You
Well, and
know?
everybody will learn, of
Everything
course.
is getting better, but like, yeah, the wind. That's another one. You know, wave energy. There's some really cool things happening in the ocean. You know, we're right here, and we see how much power our ocean produces every single day.
Right.
And so there really hasn't been. You know, we've looked into a little bit, but just simple buoys. You know, things going up and down. 24 hours a day from wave energy could create a tremendous amount of energy.
so our mile buoy has an air pipe
Yeah.
and a horn
Right.
run by the ocean.
Yeah.
We've all heard it our whole lives.
Yeah.
Ooh. I've always said, forever, imagine if there was a little wheel
Yeah.
that powered that thing.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
I lay in bed at night. I hear it.
Hear it. Yeah,
For-
yeah.
It's a weird. Things.
I know.
From my bedroom is 2 miles away. I hear it. I literally wake up. Ooh, I can hear that buoy. So you're right.
Yeah.
Just the swells. I feel like there's a future of alternative energy. I personally don't believe that we should just burn dinosaurs, and that's the future, because I don't think that is the future.
It's what we
Not
know.
for our
what we
grandkids and
know.
great grandchildren.
Oh, yeah, what we know.
Like to keep the system alive.
Right.
I feel like the current vibe is like, I just care about today
Yeah.
and not the future. Whereas my philosophy is, we got to care about the future, because I have grandkids and I have generational things that I depend on.
Totally.
Sam Dollar's a local
And
company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
local
they're the
company-
first. They're the first in town. I think.
They were, right up there with Altera,
Yeah.
another really reputable company in town, and I think both companies were founded around the same time. We were back in 2004, so we've been in this game for over 20 years. And we're actually the biggest commercial in the kind of the Central Coast.
Yeah.
We also do a lot of residential. We do off-grid. We do EV charging, and just a really good crew. That's like,
you're the person that goes in somebody's house and talks to people about what they're saving, or
I'm not the person doing
the
that.
marketing department.
Oh, the marketing.
I'm thinking of how can we best showcase this amazing company to a greater audience.
Yeah.
So,
one of the things you do I really love is the trailer with the solar panels, and you'll go to an event and like plug into their PA. Street fair.
There you go.
You know, like events like that. You know,
go.
like to me that is so community based.
Right.
And awesome.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
And earlier you said that. And my friend Pat raced at Ocean Speedway. He bought a race car, didn't have a trailer. He was neighbors to Sand Dollar, and they're like, you can Pat Sandbar, sorry. Sandbar. Felix, I'm giving you a shout out.
Yeah, Felix.
Yeah. But anyways, with Sandbar though, Pat's neighbors, he said, your boss, take the trailer anytime you want. Like
that's cool.
That doesn't happen a lot, you know, and that's visionary. I applaud that for you.
No, it's cool. So
West Side,
West
right?
Side.
West Cliff.
What happened?
Well, what happened? Most of it's missing. What's going on? What are you guys doing about anything? You guys doing anything about that? Or
we spent a long time on West Cliff, just sort of thinking behind the scenes. Honestly, obviously it broke. A lot of stuff broke as you were paying attention.
Right.
You know, the wharf that came off, floated away, and we forgot about it because LA caught on fire.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of these bigger things that are happening. We're seeing the swell shift. And it's funny because I talked to this guy named Kurt Storlazzi a long time ago. He works for USGS, United States Geological Survey. He's a modeler of like swell, erosion, all this different stuff. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he did this LiDAR map of all the surf spots around Santa Cruz. He done this heat map of like the bathymetry and kind of how everything works. And you look and you go, oh yeah, of course. And you should check it out somewhere online. But I talked to him a while ago, and he was like, with climate change, and I'm just going to go ahead and pretend that's real, just for everybody listening. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
It's real?
It seems to be real.
Scientists.
Yeah, with science and everything.
Well, from Capitola to West Cliff, it's real.
We lost 3 major pieces of infrastructure in the last 3 years.
Which are?
We lost
Wharf?
going from south to north.
Yeah.
With Cement Ship, Capitola, and the wharf.
Right.
And then you can go to West Cliff too, if you want to, right? And what Kurt told me a long time ago is, as climate change worsens, the swells are going to get bigger, and they're going to mirror these El Nino Southern Oscillation things, even if they're not El Nino years. So if you look at the damaging swells, we're used to getting, like, in 2017, we had the biggest record swell on the buoys in Monterey Bay ever, right? He was out there 36 feet at like 19 seconds, but the degrees were really high. It was really north, right? So there wasn't much damage. But then you get a swell at like 300 or like straight west. You start to get these super, super like destructive swells. And so what happened in 82, what happened in like 95, all those things kind of followed. Those were El Nino years. But then, go back to the beginning of 2023 when West Cliff had all the damage. That was a La Nina year. So that's like a real weird swell. And I think what we're trying to do, what we've been kind of working on is like, how do you deal with that from not just infrastructure, but what people care about for the community? So for us, it was sort of, the city actually did a relatively good process till the last minute of kind of like thinking about the space from out in the ocean to the houses. What do people want to see on West Cliff?
Yeah.
That was our question. And our bet was people want beaches and want to be able to access surf as priorities. And so they did the process and it came out right. But I think people got so mired in not what do we care about and what do we want to manage for, but like, do you care about the road? do you want to drive or not drive? And it just devolved, honestly. And I haven't really talked about this publicly because I've just sort of walked away because I was
I feel like you're bringing a great point of the West Swell.
Like the West Swell is the threat.
Yeah.
And then what do you want Santa Cruz to look like? And I guess that's the question for me. I don't care if you can drive two ways or one way or no ways or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It's about what does the community actually value, and then how is that planned in the process.
So is driving on West Cliff less important than access to the beach?
I think that's what people need to decide. And maybe
I think they want to drive.
Right now they
want a two-way because this is one way that's going to go. The cars are going to be going through the neighborhood.
I mean, there's all kinds of things to figure out, but I think that's what people have to all be pulling for is one vision, and I don't think we have that, unfortunately.
No.
And that's what's so hard about this is like I get why people want to be able to drive the same thing they've ever driven, and I also get people that are like, I want to be able to have a beach at Mitchell's, and maybe we're not going to be able to have both those things, or if the lane, like there's a pinch point where all the kind of riprap was and those lily pads and all that stuff is like that may erode back further, and it's like, do you want more riprap at the lane?
Well,
and more
you go
refraction?
the lighthouse there. You can see the hole in the foundation.
Frankly, I don't have the solution of it, but the caves by the lane are really super. They're super deep. It's like way back underneath there, and like, do you risk putting a harder surface and fill it with concrete and then erode a different surface, or do you let it fall in and then you have this like wind swell pathway in the lane? I mean, that's how the lane looked totally different a long time ago.
They moved the Hatteras Lighthouse. They're going to
I
have to
don't
move the
know.
Mark Avenue Lighthouse too.
It has to be
the
community has to be on board with itself, and I don't feel like we're always that.
And I'd move it to the parking lot, the carp lot. I swear, that's where I'd put it.
Right, the lighthouse.
It could be a lot of different, but I mean, I get
The lighthouse.
people's-
The lighthouse has to. Either it's done, or you move it. You decide.
Well, it needs to be a lighthouse and not a surf museum because it's
a memorial.
But it's also about the people that live there and like, what do they want to see that are surfing there every day or go there every day? And I think it's like, what do you want to see, and then what are you willing to give up to see that? And that's the question. I don't have a prescription over what that looks like.
Right.
You can leave the lighthouse, you can move the lighthouse. It doesn't matter. It's just about what is your priority as a community,
right?
And what are you willing to give up? Because you're going to give up something eventually. Just it's going to march on, you know. And frankly, like, we bought some time. The city fixed Woodrow, West Cliff at Woodrow.
Yeah,
that's restored. But it's. I mean, that'll be a different scenario. There'll be a different dynamic of how current moves.
It's
in
going to
there.
be up by Stockton Avenue.
Just kicking the can down the road.
Exactly.
Well, maybe. Yeah. I mean, and do we want to? When are we going to decide? I don't know.
Do you fix potholes or do you let them stay? I mean, we're not just talking about this in Santa Cruz. The entire coast.
The entire coast is going to deal with the
Pacifica, and it goes back to about 80 years ago. Everybody said, "Let's build a house on the beach."
Yeah.
And about 80 years later, the beach is gone.
Right.
And these houses are falling in. Right. Oahu has a gigantic problem with this right now. I mean, they're losing houses everywhere. Mm-hmm. And it's like, do you protect the homeowners or do you protect the coastline?
And we're going to have it down here at Opal Cliffs too.
I have a friend with a house on Opal Cliffs Drive, and it's falling off.
Right.
You know, his house is literally like 2 feet from the cliff now.
And I don't. I mean, then that like if I would love to live on Opal Cliff, and I would love to have one of those houses, and I could easily be in the same situation as one of those people. That's like, well, what do? I don't want to build a seawall and wreck the surf break that I bought a house to be close to. But then vice versa, it's like, you love living there.
Just saving your house.
So it's a very there's a great book called California Against the Sea that talks about these different dilemmas that people are in, but also like, how do you manage for the public good for the most amount of people?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting.
I found out an interesting fact about coastal erosion and how, as a homeowner, you can protect it. You actually need a natural disaster to get an emergency declaration to fix it. And it's sort of a weird
They won't
way
give
to
you
go.
money. FEMA will not give you money for like planning out how to deal with the disaster and mitigate it for way less. They will only give you money when it happens.
Right, yeah.
So you kind of sit around and wait for it to happen to get the money to deal with the problem, and that's what they kind of did with
I know somebody who had a home there. He could never get a permit to fix his portion of the cliff. We had a giant storm 2 years ago, and a piece of it slid off, and they're like, "Oh yeah, fix it. It's an emergency." And that's kind of a weird way to live. And not.
Isn't that about our whole society?
I think so.
It's
Actually,
really
yes.
interesting to see how we're going to deal with this stuff because I
We don't
kind of
address
felt
things
like
until they're
Santa Cruz, we were
problems.
in a good way to kind of bring everybody together into one vision. It was less hard than other places like Pacifica. Again, they're like buying out houses and people are suing everybody, and it's like gnarly, you know. And I thought maybe Santa Cruz, we could be the example, and I don't know if we were. Maybe we still have a chance to kind of come together, but I don't see us being unified really as a city that's going to take as a community to do that.
You're 12 years into your job.
Yeah.
Are you more concerned today than you were 12 years ago? Is it scarier today on what's going
It's
on?
way scarier. It's way scarier because I see it in every single. It's not Santa Cruz. It's like we're gonna look at Malibu. They're gonna have some probably rain.
I see people getting towed in. You were there.
We're gonna see
I see
like
people getting
San
towed
Clemente.
in at 38th Avenue.
I
Was that you? Oh my God, it was you. No, you couldn't.
asked to
We
leave?
have binoculars.
Did
We're
you
gonna
why wouldn't I?
Did you get asked to leave?
No.
the culprit right here.
We saved like 3 people, so
There you go. Yeah.
yeah, they lost their leashes. We were working with the lifeguards, and we got a few waves.
I will answer your question. I will answer. I'll
Hang on, it was him, folks.
Yeah.
That guy.
I didn't bring you on to rat him out.
Yes.
I think answering the question in all seriousness, it's really gnarly to see, especially in California. Like we have all these laws, Coastal Commission, like we have a pretty good environment, but we're not ready to deal with how fast things are changing. And we've got like there's no sand at San Clemente, San O. The parking lot fell in twice. Like we need something, and that's one thing we're working on. Is like, can we do something statewide to network all these places together to at least plan out how we think we want to deal with it, and try to protect it like that, you know? And so like I am worried.
Did you, CC, real quick, did you ever think in your lifetime you'd be surfing, get towed in at 38th Avenue?
No way in hell. No, I mean that was the same day. The wharf collapsed.
Yeah.
And so I'm with 2 other lifeguards. I won't name their names, but like they're like the wharf collapsed. Like I've got skis. I can help. Like, and we go out there, and sure enough, like there's surfers way out there broken their leashes. There's debris in the water floating everywhere, like causing havoc. It was like an apocalyptic scene.
Right.
It was crazy.
Right.
And of course we're surfers, so we're gonna be like, oh, here comes a huge set, 20-foot set at the hook. What? Like grab the rope, Like, of course we're gonna catch a few waves, but yeah, we like helped people that were very well could have died if we weren't there.
Yeah.
So and that's what a lot of times
Can I ask
surfers
a
do. Yeah.
science question?
Yeah.
Intrigued science question. So from the like 2019 swell or 2017 swell that I mentioned,
Right.
the really big one
Yeah.
on January 22nd.
This was a different. Yeah, this was
21st.
This was different here. That
Yeah,
one.
but that was bigger on the buoys.
Is
It was still a long period.
Right.
How different was it between this last one and that one?
Yes. This last swell that basically broke the wharf was like you were talking about. It was coming in at a different angle, and it was coming in with a more energy than anything we've ever seen. A lot of even the old timers are like, that's the biggest swell I've ever seen. It took out not only the wharf, it took out a huge rock pinnacle over by Rockview, like just floored the that whole rock. That's where a lot of the local harbor seals would live. So it took out their home. Yeah, it was the most powerful thing I've ever seen. I mean, we were out there, and that's the day that Bravo to Aloe Sliber got 108-foot frickin' wave.
He was here.
Mavericks.
He was here a couple weeks ago on the show. He's
Yeah.
the little guy.
Insane. Well, don't say that to
No.
his face.
He's not here.
No, he's love Aloe. He is small but mighty.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm small too, but he's an absolute solid human charger, and that day was just phenomenal.
But it was a huge difference.
Neil, can I show a video?
Yeah.
Huge difference.
This was This was. Can you zoom in on that? That was that day in Capitola.
Hang on.
Can you see that?
Hang on.
He's got to fire up the VHS
And
here.
hang on a second. Hang on a second. We're gonna start this over because this was
Put it in front of the
this was
camera.
Capitola that day, and
Give me closer.
closer.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Oh, shit.
I've been here 44 years, and I never saw it break surfable that far past the wharf.
Yeah.
It was honestly like a quarter mile outside of the wharf.
Tea kettles, right?
Surfable.
Outside trees.
And
trees?
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
what's crazy about that day is, and I'll end it there, is that all the other storms that devastated the area, it wasn't as surfable as this swell was, and that's why Allo got a 108 footer at Maverick, because Mavericks is so exposed. And
And I saw him 30. I never seen it.
well, that was
I couldn't getting towed in at 38th Avenue.
Tyler. How many swells have you seen like that?
Never.
I've never seen it either.
No,
And it was a once in a lifetime swell.
Yeah.
I thought the storms in '82 and '83 were once in a lifetime. Because I saw those, and this one, it was a special swell.
different.
We saw on the west side at that time. We saw Sabre jets completely close out all
Yeah.
the way across,
Yeah.
which is the rarest. Never seen.
Oh, yeah.
Never seen.
I saw that. I was standing at Woodrow.
Yeah.
Like I didn't actually make it up to like Swift, where I guess some of the best and biggest waves got ridden. But I was standing at Woodrow, and you're like, oh, it's super big. Like the horizon went black. Like the horizon went black while I was on the land. And I was like, what is that? And all of Mitchell's closed out. Like this like massive wall of black went just all the way across, and it was like so crazy.
2025. What's top of the list for you?
Yeah, we're still working on El Salvador. I'm not allowed to release the next World Surfing Reserve, but it's a place that you have probably been
Oh.
a bunch of times.
Toto Santos. You can't tell me.
I
Anyways.
can't tell you.
Yeah,
I
okay.
can't tell you. I almost said it. I almost said it.
Poke the bear.
I know he almost.
You've heard of it. You've heard of it, and we'll be doing some good work.
Puerto
down
Escondido.
there. I can't tell you.
I'm getting
I
closer.
can't tell you, but I will tell you. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
I'll tell you after.
Well, that's
I'm
exciting.
not allowed to. The official vote is tomorrow. We have like a. We don't just. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, that's a cool place. I want to go there. There's a lot of. We have a whole vision council that votes on. It's like 20 people. It's got crazy people on. I'm like, guys, we need to actually tell these stories. Like the people that decide: Maya Gabera, Sofia Milanovic, Belinda Baggs, Cassia Mador, a bunch like Zach from Surf Rider Foundation's on it. Bunch of other like pretty well known surfers and environmentalists make the decision about it, and so they go through all this criteria, and we select the next
People
place.
who want to follow what you're up to, they can where?
SaveTheWaves.org. You can find us on Instagram, I think, still. At Save the Waves Coalition. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm getting off the socials. I find it to be kind of a nightmare.
You can find him on neilwhere'syourtripod.com.
I love that. I've never asked before. Is there a membership for Save the Waves? Or
You know, we did it forever.
know?
You can be a sustaining member, so you can
Okay.
jump in and help us sustain. You can do a
Yeah,
one-time
I mean-
donation. We fund like most things with grants, and luckily, today was a big day for people in our sector because they froze all of the federal grants, which we don't actually have any federal grants. We have money from the government of Canada and all these other weird pots, but we're not actually dependent on the federal government. So we're in a pretty good position to weather what may be coming for some others in our sector. Like I'm watching people in the ocean conservation community really scramble right now.
Well,
which is,
I commend you for not being on that nipple,
Yeah.
and being able to survive during some scary times.
Still like surf. We talked about before. The surf industry is not what it was in the mid to late 2000s. So we're not super dependent on the surf industry either. It's like grants from foundations, a couple foreign things for our work outside the U.S. Corporations that are more in kind of like soft goods and things like that, but not necessarily surf endemic, and then individual donors. So large scale donors, small scale donors, that helps power the whole deal. So
SaveTheWaves.org, Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And skate contest info.
Oh, February 8th?
Skate contest.
Jeez.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so here's the deal.
Let me get my.
Can I sign up in the old man division?
You can.
Hey,
Yes, you can.
I'm making a comeback.
Yeah.
Neil and me in the old
Yeah,
man
yeah,
division.
yeah.
February 8th, inside the abandoned Sears building
It's not
on
abandoned. Is
41st.
it abandoned?
It's abandoned.
Is it?
No,
Okay.
Sears building on 41st Avenue. We're
Yeah.
doing a skateboard contest.
Inside.
We have 4 bands. We have a gigantic raffle that benefits the official Santa Cruz Animal Shelter. We're going to have 3 divisions. There's
Your race car is going to be there.
First prize is $2,500 for the street course contest. We have a $500 winner game of skate. Even the kids are up to $400 plus prizes. Again, all a benefit for the animal shelter. Food trucks, 4 bands, all free.
So awesome.
Free to enter, free to come watch. Tell your neighbors. It's a community
What's the old
event.
man pop purse at?
The
Like,
old
me and
man
Neil.
pot
$5.
purse is $2,500, but you have to compete against 15-year-olds.
The old man?
Yeah,
I thought I just had to compete against.
Old mans are badass. All you gotta do is knock the young kid off.
There we go.
Dominate. But anyways, also too, the boardroom coloring contest,
Oh,
full effect. Jimbo Phillips, thank you for participating again. But you can print those on the website from the boardroom or come by and pick one up. We have till March 15th for the coloring contest. All ages. Last year we had a 2-year-old and a 92-year-old enter, just so you know. Okay. Brian Waters.
Santa Cruz Board Riders Club events coming up. 228 Membership Drive at Pono, right down the street off of 41st Avenue. On the 1st, Trials Comp at Pleasure Point. And the next day, we'll keep your heads fresh about the competition because it's the next day. When we compete, we go against Ventura again. San Luis Obispo Club, San Mateo, San Francisco Red Triangle Board Riders Club, and Santa Barbara. So come out, support the club. TC's going to support the club.
If you got a business that wants to support the
Yeah, I have
club,
a question. Did you guys do the Usher Cup?
We did do the
Again,
Usher Cup.
How did it go?
It went really well.
That's the
We
one at
didn't
Snapper.
make it, but local knowledge won. So Snapper Club Rocks did a very good job.
but the Santa Cruz
We
team
did a great job.
representing
Showed
in
up.
Australia.
Absolutely. What an
How
opportunity.
did you fundraise to get everybody to Australia?
Membership club donations. Also, those competitors, Kiana, James, Strider, Jackson, they footed some of their monies to get there. So that's how passionate our club members are. But next time we'd like to send them. So the more you can show up and support us, we can help with that
cool.
endeavor.
All
I
right,
saw
thank you.
Jackson. You got a great wave down there.
Killed it.
Thank you.
Killed it, yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, DC.
Hey, Neil, that was a great show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee Solomon coming on.
Lee Solomon's coming. Hey, you know what? My neighbor came up to me and goes, "What's going on with Lee?" I go, "He's on the show next week. We'll
He's
find
coming
out."
up. I think
Yeah.
it might be next week or the next following week.
All right.
T Fox.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Sandbar, thank you for
Sandbar
hiring
Solar.
T Fox.
Nick,
Yeah,
Cvetich,
Sandbar's
Strong-Cvetich.
I knew it was coming. It was
You
coming.
messed it up.
Cvetich, baby.
It's such a pleasure.
Cvetich, baby.
Thank you.
SaveTheWaves.org, everybody. It's a great cause, saving the places that we love. Brian Waters, keep up the good work with Santa Cruz Board. I mean, I tell you what, what's next? We have the Pleasure Point win.
We have, 3-2 is the competition. Come down and support us. 3-1 trials. 228 membership drive at Pono.
Board Riders.
Let's go.
Neil, we have soon to be at 1,000 shows.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be on the set?
No idea.
We haven't figured it out yet.
I think the Queen of
1,000
England. I think the
shows.
Queen of England's coming.
Wish she's dead.
Hey,
you haven't been back for a while.
Neil, as I always say,
What?
T Fox, thanks
Yeah,
for having us
you
on
do.
Santa Cruz
You do.
Waves.
Thank you so much.
Yep, we appreciate that. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time on the Off Lip Radio Show. Good night.